Alright guys, well welcome back here. Since the weather has been completely crappy out and it's been raining for like a week and a half, we're going to turn our attention to the interior of this truck. We're going to look at the sound deadening, and this is kind of a cheaper way, somewhat, combining some cheap materials along with some more expensive stuff. What we got here, this is going to be our vibration dampener. This is a product called Quick Roof. It's pretty much a self-adhesive rubber mat. We're going to put this on flat panels simply just to stop vibration of the panels, which can induce a lot of noise. So we don't need to cover every area, just the flat surfaces that have no natural structural ability to them. And then the second thing we're going to apply down, this is a flooring mat. And this is what you'd put under hardwood laminates. It's just a thin closed cell foam, and it's water resistant and everything, so it's actually not bad material. And then we just got some Gorilla Tape to kind of seal that down along the edges here and just help hold it in place. And then over top of that, can't really tell what this roll is on the side, but I'll open it up here later. This is mass loaded vinyl. This is actually expensive stuff, but it's pretty good sound deadener. It is truly a sound barrier. It will not necessarily stop the sound, but it just blocks it. So you need to make it as a gap-free panel as you can and cover everything. So that's what we're going to try to do. There's a lot of stuff up underneath the interior of that, so it's going to be a little bit tough, but hopefully we can get a lot of the floor and everything done, and we can stop some of the noise of this Cummins motor. So that's the plan, and we'll continue out here, and I'll show you the carpet that I got test fit into the truck. So here's our carpet. Went ahead and just put it in, took the seat out and everything, and the shifter, and just kind of doing a rough test fit here. This is a four-wheel drive model carpet, and as you can remember, I had my own modified two-wheel drive hump, and this actually fits pretty good. It's not quite as tight as I'd like it to be, but I think I can just put an extra layer of that mass loaded vinyl right here. It'll help with the sound, and it'll also just kind of fill that out just a little bit. It's not bad. There will be some trimming with this. It's not a a direct drop-in replacement. You obviously need to trim up along here, and then I still got to put all the holes in, which will be kind of a pain, but what do you expect? And then here's where I modified some of the other areas. It'll be underneath the seat, so it won't be too bad. And then here's where we'll be applying a lot of our sound deadening material up along these areas. And one thing we got to watch for, this heater box here, and there's a couple other cables and everything that need to be run. So we'll see what we can get done here, and that way we can start putting some of the wiring and everything back in this truck. Okay, well, we're starting to get a lot of this Quick Roof applied here. And again, this is just to stop vibration. It's not to do anything else. The only thing I added a little bit extra up here along the top of the dash is because this is an upside down surface, and I don't know if we can get mass loaded vinyl to stick or hang up here without drilling holes in our firewall, and I'm really not too keen on that. So I went ahead and just applied a little extra more than needed, more than 25% I said I was going to use. But you can pretty much, to tell you where to apply it, again, flat surfaces, and you can just start knocking around, and any type of high frequency will tell you where to apply it. It does make a difference. I wish I would have done it before and after. I mean, it just deadens the thud of it. So we'll keep going with a little more on this, and once we get that done and satisfied with it, we'll go ahead and start cutting our insulation and taping that up in there. I'm trying to stay away from any holes in the firewall, that way I can still have access to everything that needs to go back in here. One thing I wanted to add too is this is a lot like Dynomat. If you look online, a lot of people use this. There's another thing called Peel and Stick. There's several different products available at your local Home Depot store. All they are, again, is just to add mass, and they're much, much cheaper. I think this 9-inch by 10-foot roll was only 16 bucks or something, and it does do the same job as Dynomat. If you look at the data sheets, they're pretty similar. They do make some asphalt-based stuff. I've heard stay away from that simply because of the temperature range. This butyl seems to have a little bit better temperature range as far as the sticking and stuff. It's just an adhesive backing, and it sticks really well. I'm really impressed with how it sticks up there. Okay, and here you can kind of see some of the progress we got going on. We're getting all the foam insulation here up and taped in there. Just kind of cutting it and making sure that it fits all in there tight. And then over here, we also carried out our roll of mass loaded vinyl. Now this stuff is super heavy. This roll you see right here is, I forget how many yards it is, but it's over 120 pounds. And what this stuff is it's just a 1/8 inch thick mat, and it's just super heavy. And now it's the heaviness that actually blocks the sound. So it's not very flexible or anything. It's kind of hard to work with. So I'm not looking forward to getting all this tucked up in there. I'm not going to use all of this. It was just cheaper to buy it in a big roll. But anyway, this is like a pound per square foot stuff. So that's what actually blocks the sound. Again, like I say, it's a kind of a replacement for lead, much safer. So the hard part's going to be is to getting that to stick up, especially upside down on the surface. I don't want to screw any holes. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm just going to been kind of avoiding this, so I'm just going to jump into it and see what we can get done here. So what's the worst that can happen? Okay, sorry again for the delay again, guys, but work's been busy here lately and had a lot of yard work and everything, even though it's been raining. So we're finally getting back to this project here, and we got a lot of things going on. First thing is here, went ahead and found a new set of injectors to get rid of the stock ones. I got a goal of 350 horse, and mostly the only limiting factor there is the single disc clutch. It's good for 350 horse, 850 torque. So we went ahead and got all our fuel injection lines off. And we even got all the old injectors out here. They're in bags ready to go off. These are getting sold as cores. But you can see we got our HX35 here again. Slightly bigger than our HY35. So that should, it's kind of the upper limits for the 350 horse, but we may get there, and hopefully in the future we'll go to something a little bit bigger. Got all the injectors out. You got to get these here covered up here, but I just want to take a quick video. There's all our delivery valve holders there. And then I also got 2 brand new doors. These are new old stock. This ain't the China made crap that when you tap on it, it feels like it's going to fall apart and will rust apart here in not too long. So these are going to save us a lot of work as far as trying to clean up the old doors. Only thing I had to do to them is these has got electric locks on it. So I had to add this little hole here for the wires to go in through there, and it's got a little rubber grommet that goes from the cab to the door. So 2 holes on each side, and then it's got an 1 3/8 hole here, and then it'll get riveted back to it. So pretty much I'm going to primer these doors, primer the hinges, put the hinges on the doors, and line up the door so that it's perfect, at least on, so I don't have to move the hinge in here and scratch up my paint. I'll paint them with the hinges on. They're completely gutted, so there shouldn't be any issues there with taping off stuff, which is really nice. And we also started throwing our wiring back up in here. We got most of our sound deadening on the firewall. So we're just slowly getting stuff back in here. Got the firebox, or the heater box ready to go back in. One thing I got to figure out is these had these clips that had the bolts that were molded into it. Obviously those were I had to cut off when I took it apart, so I got to either put washers or weld them onto these or find replacements. So that's what's going on here. Well, like I say, we'll try to get to it here in the next week. I'm hoping this weekend that the weather will cooperate and so my workload, and we'll get these doors painted up and get them on there so that we can put our front fenders on, and finally get the core support and intercooler and all that kind of fun stuff on, and get the glass in it and more interior in it, and we should be looking in pretty good shape there. So knock on wood, everything will come together. And we also found our last 33-inch tire over there mounted up, so we got a complete set, all brand new, and in my price range too, so it's another big plus. And we're also getting the visor ready to paint up here. We'll get that painted this weekend while we're spraying. And also got the last of the dash pieces that go up underneath there, the ashtray, the glove box, and the little cover that goes underneath the steering wheel. So all in all, we're coming together. It's a lot of work here running all these wires and getting all the stuff prepped up for paint and getting injectors and finding parts and all that kind of fun stuff. So stay tuned here, and hopefully here in a couple more weeks we'll have more updates and be a little more consistent.